room and talked about it.
After Sarah disappeared?
Me, Kara, and Annabelle. The very next day, Kara was gone, and then Annabelle disappeared 2 days later.
Welcome to Mrs. Morris's Academy. It is Drusilla's first day, and she is given a plate of green goo for lunch and ordered to sit at the last table, which only has 2 students sitting at it. I don't understand why this table doesn't have a sign with the house name hanging above it like the other tables do, she mumbled. A broad-shouldered girl with a square face replied by introducing herself as Zelda Hart. She had the jade-colored eyes and seemed rather exotic with her olive-colored skin juxtaposed by her platinum blonde hair. Like the other girls in the cafeteria, Zelda wore a brown pinafore, but she didn't have a dress robe to cover her uniform. Drusilla had noticed that there seemed to be a connection between dress robes and various houses. For head girl sat at the front of all the other tables, and these girls wore dress robes in various colors. Drusilla learned that purple dress robes were for Morgland, sapphire was for Morlock, and forest green was for Morwick. But the purple robes were not very purpley, and the sapphire and green robes looked as if they had been worn by generations of students. In her hand-stitched, primary yellow dress, Drusilla stuck out like a lighthouse beacon. She wished Nurse Mooney would hurry and find her a uniform. After Zelda finished speaking, the other girl introduced herself. She had a strange combination of salt and pepper hair, with black on the top becoming blonder as it went down the sides of her face in braids. She also seemed to be wearing makeup, which was something Drusilla had never seen a girl do before. She wore so much makeup, it was as if she were an actress on the stage of Blessing Hollows Theater. Madame Trixie loved the theater, and she took the orphans to see everything. The girl with the strange colored hair introduced herself as Pauline Chestnut.
And I am Pauline Chestnut, head girl of this house.
That's not really saying much, said Zelda, as we're not really even a house, and you appointed yourself head girl.
Be that as it may, I get to wear the dress robe over my uniform. You're gonna need a dress robe too, Drusilla, for all the fancy events.
Pauline seemed pedantic in nature, launching into a mini lecture as she answered Drusilla's question.
So you see,
Pauline summarized 10 minutes later,
we don't yet have a house name, as we are a new group of students who feel that animals should not be used in potions.
Which is why they call us girls without a house, said Zelda. They are really calling us freaks. And when Pauline asked for a dress robe to become head girl, they gave her that ugly brown one.
At least the teacups they give us are not brown.
So you see, Pauline said, continuing her lecture,
We're just a small group of girls. 3 for now, who are opposed to using spleens of frogs and eyes of newts in our potions. So we have been given the right to form our own group this year, although hardly anybody will join us. We are forming our very own house, and the headmistress says as soon as our numbers reach 10, we can have an official name. Until then, they call us girls without a house. But I ask you, how can you have a head girl without having an official house? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's because you just appointed yourself, Zelda said snidely.
Some witches think that we are freaks because we don't want to use animal parts in our potions.
Sadly, they assume we don't want to eat them either, grumbled Zelda.
We don't want to eat them. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. If you're too squeamish to put bat wings in Palbinder potion, then you shouldn't be eating them in soup.
The thought of batwing soup made Drusilla's stomach turn. Things were certainly different out in the real world. Back in Trixie's tri-state orphan hostelry, the most exotic dish had been le boeuf surprise, a sort of meatloaf with corn and carrots. She would certainly never eat anything made from a bat. Perhaps batwing soup wasn't a favorite in the witch world either, for Zelda pulled a face and said, "You know, nobody eats that traditional fare any longer, Pauline."
Witches who don't want to age do.
"My mother says that's a myth," Zelda replied.
Then why did I spy a delivery of bat wings in the kitchen not long ago?
Pauline's forehead creased as she frowned. "They do work for binding, my mother says," replied Zelda. "Maybe the teachers are having digestive problems." Pauline's face twisted with disgust, and the discussion on batwing soup died to an awkward silence. Zelda continued to smile but didn't talk, and Pauline picked up a book and began reading. Not being much of a people person, Drusilla didn't think to ask her companions about themselves. She was missing the hostelry, and if she were being truthful, she was also missing Madame Trixie. She had been the first orphan Madame had taken in after establishing the orphanage, and the two of them were very close. She was still thinking about Madame Trixie when the school bell tolled 1, and all the other students rose from the tables in a screech of wooden benches against the stone floor. The students deposited their trays and bins before forming a slow-moving herd that exited through a marble archway. Having forgotten her book, Pauline soon returned with Zelda right beside her. "What's the matter?" Zelda asked. "Don't you know where you're supposed to go next, Drusilla?" Drusilla pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. Mooney had jotted down her courses, and she was due in math class in 5 minutes. Problem was, she couldn't remember the way, and Mooney had forgotten to write down the room number. She screwed up her forehead in concentration. Mooney had pointed out the classroom when they walked by during her tour. Was it on the 2nd or the 3rd floor? "It looks like a dolt," exclaimed a girl with hair of jet and amber-colored eyes. She sported a gray and purple dress robe over her pinafore. On her wrist she wore mounds of Bakelite bracelets. "Yes, notice its blank stare. Quite the dolt." Madame Trixie's favorite orphan realized the girl was talking about her. Drusilla opened her mouth to respond, but the girl sputtered. "Sure doesn't look like much. Just a stringy-haired, underfed orphan whose tuition bills our parents are forced to divide. Tell me, what exactly do they call that color of hair of yours? Orange with streaks of bright red in it? Is that it? Not sure, but it's the ugliest color I've ever seen. It's the color of fire, Bridget." Zelda sputtered darkly.
It's the color of sorcery.
Pauline added even darker. "It's the color of a Christmas tree bulb," Bridget shouted. "Let's hope, at the very least, that she's smarter than you and Zelda. That would make her the smartest girl in your house, or lack of a house, as the case may be. Cheer up, maybe they'll send you abroad like the other dimwits who used to share your table. That's if they were sent abroad. I don't believe any of it." "Do you mean Annabelle, Sarah, and Cara? Yes, they were part of our house for a while, but they received last-minute invitations to Canada," the headmistress said. "I don't believe it," said Bridget.
Neither do I.
Pauline added in a conspiratorial voice. Zelda shot her a look.
Well, I don't. Think about it, Zelda. Bridget's right in this case. You remember how we all sat in the dorm room and talked about it?
After Sarah disappeared?
You, me, Cara, and Annabelle. The very next day, Cara was gone, and then Annabelle disappeared 2 days later. Who'll be next?
Such rubbish. You heard the headmistress, Zelda replied. "Oh yes, we heard her," Bridget interjected, her bracelets clanking together. "She said they were sent abroad. At least that's the official story. Who knows? Hopefully you'll be gone next, Zelda. And also you, Pauline. Both you and this new dolt." Her eyes rested on Drusilla, who was beginning to wonder what was wrong with everyone at the school. The nurse was angry. The headmistress called her ridiculously tiny. Margaret had been unfriendly, and this girl was spoiling for a fight. "What's that around your neck? A locket?" Bridget asked. "Now why would an orphan need a locket? Not like you have a mother to put in it. Pass it here. Let's see if the orphan has a boyfriend." Drusilla clutched her locket protectively. Aw, that's cute. So cute. You got a picture of a boyfriend and you're what, like 5? You're such a shrimp. Come on, give it here. Let's see this magnificent bow. Bridget reached out a hand as if she were going to yank the locket from around Drusilla's neck. Drusilla recoiled so fast that Bridget almost fell to the floor as she grabbed for the locket but missed. Angry at having fallen off kilter, Bridget's face turned bright red. Drusilla thought that she needed to do something to fix the situation and decided the best course of action was humor. She was sure that what the situation desperately needed was her best baby cuckoo in the nest of a reed warbler impression. It was a hit at the orphanage. She opened her mouth to start chirping, but the words, "I will make gravy from the soup of my enemy's bones and drink it from a golden chalice," roared out instead. Drusilla clapped a hand over her mouth. What was going on? That voice that came out didn't even sound like hers. Expressions of shock appeared on the other girls' faces. Zelda's mouth formed a round O of surprise, and Bridget shouted, "That's truly disgusting." But Pauline reacted quite differently. She didn't look shocked at all. Instead, an intense look of satisfaction crossed her face. She crossed her arms and gave a smug smile, as though she had been expecting every word.